Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith. Today, I am talking about Earth versus the Star Mummy from Lucas Mangum. This is part of Judith Sonnet's 10-day challenge, where Judith, Lucas, and Candace Nola had 10 days to write a book and have it up for sale. 10 days from first word to available for your grubby little mitts. And each of the three books is meant to be a pastiche or in honor of 1950s science fiction. And so we have Earth versus the Star Mummy by Lucas Mangum. And in this, we have a very much a trope of 1950s sci-fi where something has crashed to the Earth. Some teenagers are going to take a look at it, and things go awry. So we open with the bad boy popping into this diner, going up to a friend of his who's kind of a clean-cut, good boy type, but they're friends. And he's like, hey, I'm going to go check out that meteorite that I saw crash. It was all glowing green. I want you to come with me. We're going with this other dude. And so we meet a number of characters. And then, so of course, these three dudes go out. They find the meteorite. Inside is a sarcophagus. And inside that is a star mummy. And that star mummy wants to take over the world. And so, things progress in a sort of 1950s science fiction movie kind of way. Lucas Mangum, very good writer, writes some very dark stuff, but not always. He's, pardon me, moving. Got to stretch my legs a little. He stretches his legs, as it were. Not all of his stuff is super dark, but I think he's probably known mostly for his darker stuff. But this is in that 1950s sci-fi oeuvre. I don't know if I've used that word correctly in this case or not. It's not written like a 1950s movie style-wise, but the story beats fit into that 1950s kind of thing. And there are a couple essentially commercial breaks, a word from our sponsor, which are very funny. They're very good, and they also promote. And coming up after Earth versus the Star Mummy, Earth versus the Nudist Camp Freaks, and Earth versus the Lava Spiders, which are the other two books in this little 10-day challenge. So I find the story interesting. The editing, for lack of a better term, if this were a movie, I would call it the editing. Maybe the pace and the flow of the story is I thought was a little choppy. It does jump a bit. It feels like perhaps there are missing scenes. Again, I'm sort of using movie terms. Although, I mean, that applies to books too, but I'm thinking of it in terms of like a 1950s movie. But we go from one scene to the next, and it feels like we've missed a lot of what has happened, if I remember correctly. I'll tell you, I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. I did like it. The characters are interesting. The ones that we get to know. It's another little tiny thing. Let's check the page count. We have got... Need better lighting. Ooh, just over 40 pages. Around 45 pages, I'd say. But it gets the job done. It's a fun story. It's the Star Mummy is an interesting antagonist. Our characters are, for a 45-page story, they're pretty well done. So I enjoyed this. 3 out of 5. As I said, 3 out of 5 on Goodreads means I liked it. I feel like I'm missing something. It does have a great ending. I really, really like the ending of this one. So that's Earth versus the Star Mummy by Lucas Mangum. And I say, pick it up if you just want a quick read, a good time. You can't go wrong with Earth versus the Star Mummy by Lucas Mangum. Question for this very short review for a very short book. I just feel like I should be saying more about it, but I don't know what else to say. I don't want to spoil things. Question. What do you think about mummies? We'll just go that way. We're going to sort of not go with the 1950s sci-fi thing, and we'll jump into the mummies thing. You've got the classic Universal monster mummies. You've got the Brendan Fraser movies. You've, maybe, if you want, have the Tom Cruise movie. And I think Hammer may have made some mummy movies. I was a fan. Growing up, I loved the Universal Monster Mummy movies. I still enjoy them. I used to have nightmares. When I was a kid, I loved horror, but staying up late watching some of these horror movies would give me nightmares. And I did have a few recurring nightmares, and one of them was a mummy was after me. And yes, they're slow and plodding, but somehow you just can't get away from them. So I'm a fan. I've got Universal Monster curtains right over there. The mummy right there. I have, if you've watched all of my videos, somewhere in there, I have a shirt with the mummy on it. Actually, I have two shirts. I have one with the Universal Mummy on it, the button-down shirt, and then I have a t-shirt with the Living Mummy from Marvel Comics. I'm a mummy fan. What can I say? What about you? Do you think they're boring, uninteresting? Do you enjoy them? Do you like the Brendan Fraser, sort of more action-packed movies? Do you like the old Boris Karloff Universal mummy movies? Did you see the Tom Cruise movie? What did you think of that? Let me know about all that down in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH5757. That's all I have. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.